What do you basically Quack? It's no longer possible. I am your host, Adam Shamail.
And I'm Aaron St. Sharp.
That is right. This is the Quack 12 podcast, the most unofficial Oregon Ducks sporting podcast on the web footosphere. And Aaron, we're coming off a bye. How was your bye week? It's a special time for all of us.
Honestly, it was great.
It was great. I'll tell you this. I'm going to voice an opinion that many of us have in the college football watching world.
Okay.
Screw you, ESPN, because I canceled my Sling because I was using someone else's YouTube TV because I was like, why do I need Sling when I got YouTube TV? But then all of a sudden, the standoff between ESPN and YouTube came to a crash where they were like, ESPN and ABC no longer available on YouTube TV because the greedy mouse needs more money. And so suddenly I can't watch Mario Cristobal's Miami Hurricanes lose. And that's all I wanted, man.
Dang, actually, you know what? I was about to try and calm you down, but you're right. You should be absolutely miffed about that.
Don't even try it, man. Also, see Begonia in theaters. It's a good time. Good, really, really depressing time. But Aaron, we can't be farting around like usual.
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because we have a very important and special guest, a guest who we've named a segment after. He's that important,
right?
Like you probably wondering why we call the Pick'em section the honorary Hythloday is always right Pick'em challenge, brought to you by by Addicted to Quack and It Never Rains on this podcast. The reason why
not
is
sponsored.
Because, well, not sponsored, but taken. Because he's always right, and he beat us in the Pick'em Challenge earlier this season. That is right. Addicted to Quack's own Hythloday joins the show. How's it going, Hyth?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good because we didn't lose last week, because we did not play, and it was a great time. Hyth, let's start it off by I went to Reddit. People were excited for the return of common sense and knowing ball that would come to the Quack 12 with your return. I asked specifically our Ducks if they had any questions for the great film reviewer Hythloday, and we got quite a few responses actually. Some of the questions were kind of similar. Some of them were, like half of them were basically like, what's going on with this offense? And then half of those were, what's going on with this O-line? I want to shout out some of these people because they took the time to respond to it. So I want to say, like, we got, for example, we got specific ones like GD Truckin'. Is World getting any stronger? Is he strong enough for the NFL? If he was on your roster and if it was up to you, would you have redshirted him and played someone else? So right off the bat, how do you feel about the World?
Well, this is his final year of eligibility, so
if you didn't play him,
redshirting is I don't know, not the right term. And then, of course, the other, issue is I don't like who else would they have played.
Yeah.
It's kind of looking. It looked like the only it looks like the only other dude they had available to play tackle would be Janoris Wilson, and the question that we don't know is whether or not he could play left tackle. It may be the case that Janoris Wilson is one of these guys who he can play right, but he can't play left. Like there are just guys like that. In which case, like they might not have had a choice.
Maybe he's a better receiver than a left tackle, is what you're saying.
And I don't know. Like I you know, there are limits to what I can know because I'm not in practice.
Dang.
Well, then you won't be able to answer this question, which made me laugh. The Ultimate Hammer asked, "How are the Ducks getting ready to play against a gritty team like Iowa this weekend?" That made me laugh because that makes me think that like they think you're the actual beat reporter right there.
I'm just not in a position to
yeah, no worries.
To know stuff like that. There's also the other thing about the offensive line is that there's multiple things sort of going on simultaneously. And they kind of interrelate with each other. It all starts with the coaching transition that happened, when Mario Cristobal left and Dan Lanning came on board, which sort of disrupted the recruiting pipeline. And then after that, his first offensive line coach then left, basically a year later and, created another disruption. And so Oregon it was in this pinch right now. I don't think it's going to last for more than a year because if you look at the pipeline, like who's coming up, like it's nothing but homegrowns in 2026. Like they took offensive line transfers to sort of fill in the gaps. But if you look at the timing for all of them, every single one that they've taken, and they've taken, it's more than just the three that they're playing. They've actually taken quite a few, like they took Junior Angalau, Nashad Strother, Matthew Bedford, Isaiah World, Alex Harkey, Emmanuel Pregnon. Every single guy that they've taken, they all time out at the same time, which is the end of 2025. Like they knew this was coming, and just like the defensive backs last year, for the defensive backs it was 2024, for offensive linemen it's 2025. Like they knew what was happening, and they took transfers with it, I think, with the idea in mind that like we don't want to be on this treadmill. We want it to end at a specific time so that our high school recruiting takes over. So that's good, and this is coming to an end. It's just 2025 is when it came to a peak, and they were in a position where they just didn't have a choice but to at tackle they probably had to play at least one portal transfer. And if it is the case that Janoris Wilson is a guy who has to play on the right side, then they had to get a transfer player on the left. That's speculation, but I kind of think it's true. And World was the top rated guy, so I don't know, go get World. However, I watched his tape at Nevada. I wouldn't have gotten World because I don't think that his anchoring issue could have been solved in a year. Like I probably would have gotten, I don't know. I think I would have gone looking for somebody else. I think he's going to be good in the NFL, but I just don't think that you can fix an anchoring problem. Like that's not a question I have a ton of data on, unlike some other questions where I do have a ton of data on, but it just doesn't seem like an issue that's fixable in a year.
And who knows, maybe it's like Dan Lanning like missed out on one or two other options he was going for, and this is where he landed. We really have no idea.
It's that one's, it's difficult to parse out how that goes, but like, oh, we got the number one transfer and oops, like, oh man, what are the odds? So then they go get they get another, transfer in Harkey. I liked Harkey for what he was, but which was a guy who looked ready to play, but with an athletic cap. Like if he goes to the NFL at all, it'll probably be at a guard, not a tackle. So that's sort of the equal but opposite problem. He's ready to play, but he's capped out right now. So you get sort of this weird mix on his film, or it's an interesting mix where like, oh man, when he nails a play, it's awesome. Like he's swatting down two different guys on the same play. It's totally rad. But then at the same time, you have these film clips of him where like he's just straight up beat by a speed rusher. Kind of capped out. So it's like, man. And then they go get a guard. Guard was the position where they probably needed the least help because they were deepest at guard. But the guard that they got, like I totally understood why they got the guard. Number one, because it's Emmanuel Pregnon for USC. Number one, it sabotaged the heck out of USC. If you're watching USC film at all, which I've been doing because Oregon's got to play USC in a couple of weeks here. Like, oh god, it totally sabotaged USC's line. Like, it's pretty funny. And Emmanuel Pregnon's like the best of all the transfers. Like, frankly, it's probably not Isaiah World, who is the most valuable transfer offensive lineman available in the portal. It was, Emmanuel Pregnon, like with a bullet. Like he's great. If Emmanuel Pregnon was the only guy that they got, like, oh yeah, he's a great guard. The issue is they probably didn't really need help at guard. Like they probably could have gotten away with, just playing the guys that they had. Although honestly, when you sort of watching some of the guards that they played, like I'm not sure about that. Anyway, my point is that like it was upside down. Like they needed the most help at tackle, but tackles were the least. The tackle transfers that they got were the least helpful. Meanwhile, they needed the least amount of help at guard, but the guard transfer that they got was the most valuable. So of course they played him, and so due to that sort of mix match, like they talked themselves into playing all three transfers. So now you're getting smacked in the head with the transfer portal effect on top of getting smacked with the intrinsic problems of Isaiah World's anchoring problem and the athletic cap that Harkey has. So what's the transfer portal effect? Well, that's the compounding problem of each additional transfer that you take directly out of the portal and start. It wears off after a guy's been around for a year, but those guys haven't been around for a year. Each additional transfer offensive lineman that you start directly out of the portal makes the whole line worse. So one, you can get away with and you barely notice the effect. Two, you definitely start to notice the effect. And three, really has significant problems across the entire line on communication, on, everybody knows what everybody's supposed to be doing. You start to see like, man, they're tripping over each other's feet. They're not getting the sort of elegant blocking that's necessary to pull off explosive runs. And it is apparent in the explosive rushing, particularly explosive rushing right up the middle. There is a huge fault. Like Oregon for 20 years was getting about 1 out of every 5 of their runs up the middle were like explosive rushing, to 10 plus yard runs, and that's collapsed like in half. Like they're just not getting it. And explosive runs right up the middle have salutary effects on the rest of the offense. It manipulates the defense. The defense has to bring the safeties down, so now it's much easier to hit passes over the top of them. Like Oregon can hit some explosive passes to the outside, like perimeter runs to the outside, but they're not as cool because for a couple of different reasons. One, you really have to work to engineer them. It means the guys who are blocking them are like wide receivers, which means you're taking them out of the pattern. That they're less likely to be successful, and they don't manipulate the defense as well, because the defense, in order to defend perimeter runs, well, they just play cover 2. They play split safeties, so you're not manipulating the defense in the same way. So like it's not as awesome as the constant push-pull effect of explosive run up the middle. Okay, so they put the safeties down in the box, hit a big pass over them. Oh, now I got to back up the safeties. Well, okay, run up the middle. Oh no, so the defense, goes back and forth. Like that's what when you were seeing from Gary Croughton through Chip Kelly, through Kenny Dillingham's, like straight at Joe Moorhead, straight on through. That was the push-pull, explosive run up the middle, explosive pass over the top, explosive run up the middle, explosive pass over the top. Like that's what Oregon's awesome offensive lines were getting, the Ducks for 20 years. And this is the first year, like forever, that Oregon hasn't had it. And it's because of, all the factors that I've been talking about. Will they be ameliorated? I don't know. Like Alex Herkey's not going to overcome his athletic cap. Like I don't think that Isaiah World's going to get substantially, stronger. The transfer portal effect starts to decay, somewhat. By November, you should see the transfer portal effect start, hit about around a 50% decay. So like they should be playing more like what they were like, but it never really fully goes away until the year is over, at which point they'll be timed out. So, it won't matter. But like I said, that's only part of the problem. And it doesn't fully go away. So like, now having said that, those offensive line issues are they're only affecting like 2 of the quadrants of the offense. They're affecting the efficiency pass rate. It affects the efficiency pass rate because pressure is getting through to Oregon's offense. So, Moore is having to scramble a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects the explosive run rate because of that sort of, in order to hit explosive runs, you have to be really elegant in your blocking. Like everybody has to hit every block. And then the C's part, and the running back's got a real nice gap to run through and they can get, real big yards on a run. The other, the kitty corner aspects of it. So explosive passing, efficiency running, those are still pretty green for Oregon. Why? Well, explosive passing, because Dante Moore's got a golden arm. Oregon's got super talented, targets. In fact, they've got a whole bevy of them. In fact, this is probably the most talented and versatile group of receiving targets that Oregon's ever had.
Yeah.
So when they hit passes, they're consistently for huge yardage. So, the explosive passing element is still, it's real great. It's just the efficiency is kind of it's a dice roll, whereas in the past, the number that they want to hit is like 60% of their passes are successful passes. Now it's like 49%. So, they've taken a hit to efficiency because of the pressure, but explosiveness is still good. It's still, nice 20%. And then in the run game, it's the other way around. So explosiveness has taken a hit. They're not hitting like 20% explosive runs. It's more like 10 or 9%. So there's it's issues with that. But efficiency runs, hey, do they need like 3-4 yards to convert a third and short? Something like that. Oh yeah, they're still doing that. Because they got good running backs. Hell, they got a bunch of running backs. Got like 7 of them, and they were shedding them. Mackay Hughes, who was back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher, lost out because they had such good bunch of running backs. And
seemingly the further you go into the depth, maybe the better they're getting.
Right. and Lamar's been out with injury for a couple of weeks, hadn't mattered. Like they have true freshmen who are great running backs, and Davison and Hill, Noah Whittington, comes back from yet another injury. And he's like, oh, I haven't lost his step, hey, I'm, doing great. And the offensive line, for whatever else you want to say about them, like they're huge dudes, like, they can lean forward and get you 5 yards. They're not doing the sophisticated, elegant, like everybody hits their blocks every time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus the tight ends, the C's part, and they get explosive runs. That element is not quite there, but they're, they ain't pushovers the way that I do see out of a bunch of lines. Like they're big guys. They can lean forward. They can get you 5 yards. So the efficiency run rate is still good. So those that's why, when people are scratching their heads and saying like, sometimes I see an offense that looks good and sometimes I see an offense that looks bleh.
Yeah.
And, like, that's why, folks, come and they ask like, what am I seeing about this offense that's confusing? Like if it were just a bad offense, people wouldn't be confused, And it's not a bad offense. It's an offense that's like confusing. And I hope that sort of answered, you shed some light on, what's confusing about it. Oh, and then there's another thing. The other thing about why it's confusing is I kind of think that about these 3 games that happened between the bye weeks. I'm just dumping all the answers to all the questions right now. Sorry.
You scratched off about half of them, but this is good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Oregon played 3 games between the bye weeks, and I think that they're all sort of connected in this regard, which is the Will Stein. I'm putting Will Stein on the couch. I'm like psychoanalyzing Will Stein right now.
Nice. Yeah. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
So the first game they played was against Indiana. Indiana has defensively has 2 things going for them and 1 thing going against them. The 2 things that they have going for them is that I think their defensive line is pretty good. At least they're good at one thing, which is they're pretty strong. And so they were giving Oregon's offensive line some trouble. They're definitely making Dante Moore like sort of scramble a lot or giving him not a whole lot of time to throw. The other thing that Indiana's defense had going for them is that their boundary corner, D'Angelo Pons, is not bad. He's not bad corner. I think he's probably going to be like a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. He's like a spot drop type of corner. So he plays shorter passes, not bad. I think he's actually challengeable on deep passes, but that's sort of beside the point because why their defensive line is giving Oregon's offensive line trouble. So like you're not really setting up to throw deep against him. The way that Will Stein and then the thing that's working against Indiana's defense, and this was super clear on film. I had a ton of film clips in my article about this. Even the G5 teams, it was very clear about them, which is that their field corner, the guy on the other side, so boundary is the short side of the field. The field side is the other side, the big side of the field. And Indiana's defense is very regimented. Their boundary corner always plays on the short side of the field, and the boundary safety too. The field safety and the field corner always play on the wide side of the field. And Indiana's field safety and in particular field corner are very, very weak. I would probably describe their field corner as the weakest field corner or just weakest cornerback period in the Big Ten. Very easily challengeable. Like he's always out of position, like always. And so Oregon had like a real big matchup advantage versus the field. And where I think Will Stein had a real strategic blunder in his game plan, in my opinion, is that he looked at, okay, so our offensive line is getting challenged a lot. And so we got to have some quick throws built into this offense. Well, what's the quickest throw? Throw to the short side of the field, right? Because that's the quickest developing route is to the short side. So, here's my brilliant idea. I'll just have all these throws, to the boundary. And like Tristan, his film review found, he's looking at Dante Moore's helmet, and that's where he's looking first, is to the short side of the field. And I'm like, Will, you dum-dum, like that's their good corner. And furthermore, he's a spot drop corner. Like the short throws are like what his whole bag is defending those. It's like the one thing that Indiana is good at defending in the passing game is that. Like, what are you doing, man? Meanwhile, you know what the one time Oregon got an offensive touchdown was?
I'm guessing when they challenged the field.
Yeah, they rolled the pocket, they threw against the field. It was like, that's if I were designing the game plan, I would have been like, close your eyes and throw against the field. Like that corner is going to be in the wrong position, So I really think that he sort of flunked the Indiana test. That's how I've been describing it. Like, I know that fans have been like, oh, you should have been running the ball. You weren't getting explosive runs. And so that's a mugs game. Like, that running the ball constantly for like 3, 4, 5 yards. Like that's how you turn into Iowa or Northwestern. Like you're not winning the game that way if you're not getting explosive runs. The answer was to throw against the field. They weren't throwing against the field where you had a massive matchup advantage that, so you flunked the test, Will. So what I think, that's my diagnosis of the Indiana game. And I think in the next week against Rutgers, he comes back and it was like the makeup test, and like, if you ever taken a makeup test, if you ever taught classes and had students who biffed it on the first test and then come back to take the makeup test, they ingratiate themselves to you, and they're like, oh, look at all the stars, look at all the extra credit that I'm doing, teach, and so against Rutgers, which has really, really weak secondary, he's like doing a bunch of gadget plays. I mean that literally, like it's a bunch of gadgets and tricks and wacky, it's just like he's like emptying the bag of all this creative stuff where this is where I said, I'm like psychoanalyzing Will Stein. Like I think he was like showing off. He was like, no, I got it, guys. Like I know what to do. I'm a good offensive coordinator. Look at all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, yeah, Will, this is what you should have done last week. I get it. Okay. So he destroys Rutgers. Good for you, Will. You destroyed the worst defense in the Big Ten, with the stuff that you should have been doing last week. Too bad you don't have a time machine. Okay. So then next week against Wisconsin,
I see where this is going.
Next week against Wisconsin, I think he gets the memo that Wisconsin's having a bad year, right? Like, they're not having a good time under Luke Fickell, and they have a bunch of injuries. So he's like, oh, another bad defense. I can keep going. I can keep doing all this like wacky stuff and show off some more. And this is what was crazy. Like Tristan wrote up his film study article, and I delayed posting it to folks because I wanted to chart the game before I posted it everywhere, because I thought he was crazy when he came to his conclusions. And then I charted the game and I was like, oh my God, Tristan was absolutely right. The first 4 drives against Wisconsin, Will Stein was doing the same stuff. It was the same like gadget play, like wackiness stuff. In fact, like an entire drive against Wisconsin was nothing but gadget plays. And I was like, what you didn't need to do this against Rutgers. Why are you still doing this against Wisconsin? But here's the deal. Unlike Rutgers, which is just straight up a bad defense, like their coaches, their defensive coordinator is a clown. It's nothing but bad news with Rutgers. With Wisconsin, it's kind of a different story. Like nobody read my preview about Wisconsin, which like shame on you. They're like Cal. Like when I was writing about Pac-12 teams every year, nobody read my Cal preview, and then Cal would give Oregon a hard time, and I was like, damn it, Ducks fans! Like this is what happens when you don't read my preview. It's like you're inviting bad karma. Well, it's the same thing with Wisconsin. Like nobody reads my Wisconsin previews, and then Wisconsin gives Oregon a hard time. So it's your fault, Ducks fans. I'm kidding about that.
No, it's their
fault. Anyway, the Wisconsin is not actually a joke defense. They get in trouble sort of for other reasons and sort of injury related problems. Like Wisconsin is not like a joke defense, and if you try to pull jokes on them, like run nothing but gadget plays, like they can actually punish you over it. There's another thing that has to do with them swapping out their linebackers, because their starting linebackers suck. I identified that. Then they swapped out their starting linebackers because they were hurt with the actually talented true freshman that Luke Fickell recruited. There's some irony there. It would take me some time to unpack it. Anyway, the gadget plays went nowhere, and they were averaging, I'm not kidding about this, 1.4 yards per play on their first 4 drives. So then Oregon, like Will Stein finally, like I don't know, maybe Dan Lanning walked over to him and just started slapping him. Like, Will, enough with this stuff, run the normal offense. So like Wisconsin punts, pins Oregon back on their 1 yard line. Will Stein gets the stuff slapped out of him. Oregon runs their normal offense, just their normal, it's a bunch of zone reads, a bunch of, normal passing, just their normal offense. Oregon cuts through Wisconsin like a knife through butter. Like it's a 99-yard drive. They have like an 80% success rate on their plays. Like Wisconsin commits 2 penalties. Like, I mean, they just creamed them. They slaughtered them. The drive takes a little longer than usual, but it's because Oregon looks at the clock and are like, if we extend this drive a little longer, we can ice out Wisconsin. They can just end the half and ice Wisconsin out from having another possession. That's the only thing that's so slightly weird about, they wind up taking 16 plays on the drive. They probably could have been done in 12, but they take a few extra plays in order to ice Wisconsin out of the half. Then, because they stole a possession at the beginning of the game with that onside kick, they get the ball back for their 6th possession, and they run a perfectly normal, it's like 6 plays, they get a touchdown. Again, they're cutting through them like butter. It's, perfectly normal. Okay, so then what happens? The weather starts coming down. It never rains in Autzen Stadium, so it must have been like liquid tie-dye.
Something happened. Yeah.
And B, Dante Moore breaks his nose. He starts shooting blood out his nose. So Brock Thomas, that's a weird story, takes over. And at this point, Oregon basically shuts it down. They're doing nothing but rushing. Actually, Thomas, there's a couple of nice passes, but at this point, it's garbage time. The game's over. So that's the crazy thing about Wisconsin. The first 4 drives are gadget play nonsense, and then the last 2 drives are garbage time because the game is over. So we only got to see a normal Oregon offense for 2 drives, and even then, one of them was a little weird because they extended it because it's the end of the first half and they were trying to ice Wisconsin out of a possession, at which they were successful. So it was only for 2 drives, the 5th possession and the 6th possession, that we got to see a normal Oregon offense. And what did we see when we saw Oregon's normal offense in the 5th and 6th possession? Well, they slaughtered Wisconsin. Just absolutely slaughtered them. So when people, ask me, oh, what's up with Oregon's offense? Oh, is there trouble against, Wisconsin? My answer is, well, when we actually got to control for and look at what the normal Oregon offense was, all systems normal, it's all good. Don't sweat it. It's just you only got to see it for 2 drives.
We were farting around. This yep.
I have a question.
I got a perfect transition and a different question, but let's hear it. This better be a good one. Let's hear it.
Since we're psychoanalyzing the man, Hythloday, do you think there's a chance that he thinks he's playing some kind of a fake out game where he does all that stuff in the beginning to make you think that there's weaknesses that don't exist while he's kind of covertly hiding weaknesses that do exist?
In terms of putting stuff on tape for future opponents to look at and confuse them?
Maybe.
Or is he auditioning to be a head coach somewhere else?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't know. I don't think so. If I have to speculate about the psychology of Will Stein, what I have noticed over the years, I have been studying, this is I think 4th year I've been studying the guy. My best guess at it is he comes up with a game plan about 9 times out of 10, before during the week. 9 times out of 10, I like it. I'm just it's either the game plan I would have come up with, so of course thumbs up to that, or it's even better. I'm really impressed. Good counterpunching. I definitely know that the dude watches the hell out of film, because the stuff that I really give thumbs up to, because it happens a lot, is he's identified defensive substitution rules and manipulates them. He's a real counterpuncher. I dig it. 9 times out of 10, I totally dig it. And that's why I say, I know that he's, he game plans in advance and comes up with, he's not doing this by the seat of his pants.
Right.
This isn't, guys calling plays by feel or something like that.
Maybe he's too much of a visionary.
Something like that, but it's it's not a one-off. It's, I don't know, maybe 10%. I'm kind of pulling that number out of the air, but something enough that I notice it. it's maybe one out of 10, something like that, where it's like, dude, that is not the right strategy. Like what? Like what? Like, come on, man, that is not what you should be doing. And it like that's 180 degrees the opposite of what you should be doing. And the Indiana game, when I say you flunked the Indiana test, it's like that's an example. It's like I understand why you did that, but dude, you're overthinking this, man. Throw against the super weak corner. You'd be out of here in the second quarter if you did that.
In retrospect, have you seen some of this in like the game against Penn State? Like maybe the moment was so
that's
big.
another example where it's like, okay, I understand. Oh, that's one I cut him some slack.
It's week 2.
It'd be hard to understand how weak that team was, but it does sort of, even though I cut him slack, it's of a piece with that. What I'm saying about like he comes up with a strategy, I understand the strategy in that game. I think it was the wrong strategy. I cut him slack for it because I understand why he came up with it. Like, but it's of a piece. Like he comes up with the strategy, right or wrong, but he goes with the strategy, and I understand. Like I can see the stuff that he's looking at when he comes up with the strategy. It's just that there's a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but often enough where it's like you overthought this, man.
So this actually transitions pretty quickly, pretty well to DC Ducks question, and this is one that the Quack 12 regular host would have absolutely no answer for. So this is perfect. With one or possibly two coordinators leaving, because Aaron, the coaching carousel right now, like kids are flying off this thing. This thing is about to lift off. There's so many high position, like really huge jobs that have just opened up. Like Auburn just fired their head coach too.
Yeah.
With one or possibly two coordinators leaving, does Hythloday have any opinions of potential hires based on film he has seen from other schools? Let's say both DC and O's. We win a natty, so now both our coordinators are out. Who are some of the guys kind of top of your list here? And let's say, obviously money's no.
That's fun.
Is not a for us. I know that's a tough one. I would not like to be asked that question on the fly.
I'm forgetting his name. He was at Duke, and then he went for defensive side. A guy who I've been recently impressed with was the defensive coordinator who was at Duke under Elko, and then he went to Georgia Tech. I'm not sure if he's still there. It's kind of an Italian sounding
name is Blake Gideon.
What's that?
Blake Gideon? Is that possible?
No.
You said he was where was he before Georgia Tech?
He was at Duke, and then he was at Georgia Tech. Yeah, it's not Gideon. It would be whoever was
Jonathan Patke.
No, it's like Santinelli, something like that.
Martin Santinelli.
Let's see. Tyler Santucci.
No, yeah, that's it.
Okay, there you go.
Santucci. Yeah, I really liked him. Now, he kind of would be. It's kind of a different scheme than Lanning has preferred, but I liked him, and he's really young. That's the other thing, is that he was like 36.
Looks like currently he's the linebackers coach for the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh yeah, that's totally, yeah. I mean, that guy's totally in Lanning's wheelhouse for a the youth profile, and like I really thought he instantly improved. He was Brandon Johnson's. I picked him up because I was doing the film study on Brandon Johnson, actually, I really, and I thought he was like, Georgia Tech taking a step forward. Like, yeah,
maybe he's ready to leave the Ravens too. Who knows?
Yeah. And then in terms of offensive coordinators, the one that I think would be really, really fascinating would be picking up Brennan Marion and going with the go-go offense. I think that would be awesome.
Where's he currently?
I don't think he stayed Odom didn't take him when he brought the like UNLV staff, so
Hmm.
maybe he stayed at UNLV, or
It looks
did he
like
get a
right now
head coaching
Sacramento
job?
State actually.
Oh, he got the Sac State head coaching job. That's right.
So I imagine he'd be pretty down.
That's interesting. Well, I don't know if he's going to want to leave a head coaching job unless they fire him.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, hey, money. You know, I'm saying dump
well,
truck.
then what needs to happen is that Oregon needs to beat the hell out of USC, and USC needs to fire Lincoln Riley, and then Oregon just needs to hire Lincoln Riley as
Oh, there you
offensive
go.
coordinator.
That sounds great. I like that quite a bit, actually. Let's see. We got some other. Here's another one that we won't like to hear because he's a homegrown kid. But I like this question. I think it's spicy. Blazer Shorts asks, "We all like Betcher, but is he actually good? Are there any metrics to compare him to other Big Ten linebackers?"
There we go.
And then he this guy's feeling pretty spicy because he also wanted you to rank the starting 5 O-line from best to worst. I think you've basically done that. But specifically speaking on Betcher, are we being blinded by the homegrown kid, basically?
I understand the question about Betcher, and like, yeah, I don't think he's an A+ linebacker. I think he's a B+ linebacker.
Still pretty good.
Like specifically, the grades that I hand out for him, like he's a notch below elite.
And
that
then
doesn't mean
actually,
that doesn't mean that he's bad, like, but he's not elite, like he
4-star.
And this I've heard you talk about this as well, but I mean this feels like a perfect time and it's interesting conversation. Reward OK 2506 asks, can he go more in depth on the linebacker philosophy this year, which seems to be the same? He mentioned a comment under the Wisconsin Film Review, something about backers being pass first. I don't remember exactly, and I was hoping he could give a more in-depth explanation.
Well, it's not this year. It's the Mint defensive philosophy, which I've given this lecture a few times.
Yes.
So anybody's been listening to me for a while, maybe like, oh boy, buckle up, you're in for this one again. But if you've missed it, here it is again. The Mint defensive philosophy was cooked up by Nick Saban and Kirby Smart when they were together at Alabama before Kirby Smart went off to Georgia, and then of course Dan Lanning was under Kirby Smart at Georgia. The idea is that the pass in modern college football hurts you more than the run, and so you should back out and play the pass in just about every circumstance. And that what you were trying to do is stop the run with as minimum defensive resources as possible and devote maximum defensive resources to stopping the pass. And what that looks like is put only a couple of big defensive bodies, like big defensive tackles, like right in the middle, clog up the B gaps. Like you put a big nose right in the middle to two gap, the A gaps, clog the B gaps, spill and kill. It's a spill and kill run defense. So it's not so much that you penetrate into the backfield and get tackles for loss, but you cause the running back to spill to the outside.
Right.
So then all the defensive players, everybody else, the linebackers included, who have dropped back to play the pass, then identify, the running back is spilled to the outside and it really is a run. Like, okay, I'll come down and kill that guy. And so, but like basically everybody except for those big defensive linemen who are right in the middle are pass defenders first and foremost, including the linebackers. And so that's why, and really this explains everything about the Mint defensive philosophy, that, of course they're trying to win first downs, and of course they're trying to win third downs, but specifically on third downs, they build out their players to prevent third and short and third and medium pass conversions, because in modern college football, that's how teams convert third downs. They're not running the ball so much anymore. They're doing like short little, short little conversion throws. And so who stops those? Your linebackers. So they need to be pass defending linebackers.
As a Duck fan too, I feel like I just have memories of some of our best teams. It was like that was the most frustrating part on defense is on 3rd and long. Is like, well, no, they're still going to find an open man. Like, yeah.
So this actually explains a couple of different things. I will take a brief detour and note, so for example, 2nd and short, if you look at the situational numbers in 2nd and short, it's a pretty hilarious skew. Oregon is fantastic at defending the pass on 2nd and short. They have like 75, 80% success rates under Dan Lanning defending the pass on 2nd and short because, of course, they're trying to defend the pass. They drop out everybody and defend the pass on 2nd and short. Why? Because 2nd and short is the money down. That's when, if you're a smart offense, you take your shots on 2nd and short because it's like a free play. It's like an offsides flag, right? 2nd and short, that's when you're like, oh, great. If you're an offense, oh, great. This is like a free down. I can take my shot. If I get it, fantastic. If I don't get it, well, it'll be 3rd and short. I'll just run and pick it up. So Oregon smartly drops out, plays the pass on 2nd and short. They do a great job defending the pass on 2nd and short. But what it means is that their run defense numbers on 2nd and short are abysmal. It's like 15%.
I think a lot of fans really hone in on that and they go like, well, we can't stop the run because they see like that. Yeah.
They're not really trying. I mean, it'd be wonderful if they could, but what that would require would be like 500-pound defensive tackles. Like nobody's stopping the run on 2nd and short if you have like 2 guys who are trying to stop it, and if the offense, especially if you're playing in the Big Ten, where these dumb offenses do not react to 2nd and short by saying, oh, great, time to take a shot. These dumb offenses which the Pac-12 offenses would. Dumb Big Ten offenses look at 2nd and short like, oh boy, an opportunity to run the ball, get a couple of tight ends in here. And, so it's like they've got like 7 blockers attacking Oregon's like 2 defensive tackles. Well, of course they pick it up, And so Oregon fans are like, oh, we can't stop the run. And I'm like, dude. Well, like
we're at the opponent's 40-yard line,
right? And so in a way, it's like a trap. Like they want you to try to run like 17 times at 3 yards a carry. Like you'll eventually make a mistake, get into 3rd and long, and then they'll get you off the field. So anyway, that sort of explains that. But now back to the linebackers. The linebackers are built like pass defenders because, of course, they are. That's the primary thing in a Mint defensive philosophy is defend the pass, defend the pass, defend the pass, because the pass is what hurts you. It hurts you in short conversions and it hurts you in intermediate conversions. It helps you, hey, I got to defend the running back wheel. I got to go run. I got to be taller than this guy to knock down the pass. So like, that's why all the linebackers look like that. They're long and they're lean, right. Like even Betcher, he's a center fielder. He's a baseball player. He's like 6'2", he's got long arms, right? You can run, right? What they don't look like is these neck roll guys. And if you watch Big Ten teams, boy, do I watch Big Ten teams, first of all, the best ones like Michigan and Ohio State and a couple others who have like clued in, like Maryland has. Wisconsin, one of the things that I respect about Wisconsin and Luke Fickell's like transformation is that they clued in. Now they got the wrong specific guys until they got the right ones, but that's a longer story. Like that Posa kid who was causing Oregon trouble. Well, what's he? He's a long, lean guy. Anyway. So but most Big Ten teams are like 30 years out of date. And what do they have? They have the neck roll dudes who are built like fire plugs. Because what are those guys built to stop?
The 2nd and short, basically.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, I better like plug up this run to keep teams from converting 2nd and short. Well, that's valueless. in modern college football where everybody's run the analytics, and so of course those Big Ten teams are all, oh, I'm so proud of our linebacker who looks like a fire plug, like, oh, I'm so happy that if I looked up a dictionary definition of a linebacker, he'd look just like that guy, like the picture of this dude, and then I watch him on film and it's like, that guy can't run sideline to sideline, that guy has like no lateral agility, that guy's always on his belly, when he like flying at the feet of some dude who's running past him for 50 yards, like, that guy has no, why does this team always lose in bowl games against SEC teams? Because they're employing the neck roll linebacker, So that I hope is the answer to DC Duck's question. Like, why do the linebackers look like that? Because it's modern college football. Because they're built to win January games. Oregon's most recent January game notwithstanding.
Yeah. Well, yeah, honestly, good to hear the defensive philosophy. I mean, you've said it many times on this podcast, but it's always honestly a good refresher for us. I got
now
two
Oregon
more
specific linebackers this year. Yeah, Bryce Betcher's a baseball player. They made a bet on Devin Jackson, which is sort of looking like it's not paying off, unfortunately. Like, he's fast, but man, I don't know what the deal is. He's not picking it up. And then Jerry Mixon was their backstop guy.
Yeah.
And who, like, good for Jerry Mixon. Like, I think he's playing very well, but like, he's sort of the Alex Harkey of the defense, like he's ready to play, but there's something of a cap there. And then like who they wanted to be playing at this point was all the young kids, Matudi and Williams and Platt, but all those guys have been hurt. And it's like one of them is just getting over an injury now, and they're sort of like constrained, at this point. Like, they didn't take a transfer because they were making a bet on those guys, and it's like they've just rolled, snake eyes at the linebacker position. It's sort of the issue.
I got two more, and it's about teams that aren't Oregon. One, we got a reward. Wait, did I already say that?
Wait, though.
Let's hear it.
Are they in the Pac-12?
No.
Then why are we even fielding these things?
I don't even know
way
why.
Off topic
this is in case we meet these teams in the playoffs. Like, we're a Pac-12.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
So, thank you for keeping us honest there. The first one is a team that I mean, who would have thought we would ever really be talking about this team? But it turns out they're really freaking good. He said something in the Indiana preview that I can't stop thinking about. You are in Marty Becker's brain right now, Hythloday. Your words are echoing over and over. He said Indiana plays an extremely tight rotation, just 28 guys total. Does he feel that will be sustainable through the rest of the regular season and potentially 4 postseason games against top 10 competition?
I like that one.
Historically, the answer has been no. That doesn't mean they can't do it, but it does mean that they will need luck on their side in terms of, not taking injuries, not running into fatigue issues. It means they're going to need to be lucky. And the other thing that I've noticed about Indiana, one of the reasons that I've watched some of their tape after Oregon has played them as well. I've needed to for other projects. Is that one of the reasons why they keep getting these big score differentials is that they couldn't pull the starters if they wanted to. I'm not accusing them of running up scores or doing anything untoward. I wouldn't care if they were. I'm saying that like they
Indiana
don't have a choice.
Deserve it. Yeah,
like,
you're right.
They don't have a choice. They don't have anything but 28 playable guys, as far as I can tell. And so it's like, they can't put in like the developmental guys to play in garbage time after they've already, made the game a laugher, like, because I don't think they have anybody else to play. So, it's kind of like why I always, when they put the graphic, oh, look at these margins of victory that Indiana is winning by. It's like, they don't have a choice, and so to the question of like, is that sustainable? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but history suggests teams that are built like that, they tend to run into problems. going the distance because, well, there's a reason they call it depth. But that's no guarantee. A couple of years ago, Clemson was a team like that. Clemson, which year was it? 2016, I think, was one of the teams that sort of defied the blue chip ratio. And it was one of the reasons why is they were one of the most injury luckiest. 2016 might not be the right year. Don't quote me on that, but it's whatever year it was that Clemson defied the blue chip ratio and won a national championship. That's the year that I'm talking about. And if you dive into their roster rotations, that's what the reason why they pulled it off was they were like the injury luckiest team.
Because Dabo had God on their side. I think that's pretty obvious.
I guess so.
You ask the man himself.
So, I mean, you can do it. History is not a guarantee, but history suggests no, it's not sustainable.
Depth is better. I'm sure Signetti would like to have more. And then we got this final one here, probably absolutely the best name out of all these usernames so far. Churn it like you burn it. I don't quite know what that means, but I like to say it. Churn it like you burn it. So you can't ask the question, how are the Ducks getting, or answer the question, how are the Ducks getting ready to play against a gritty team like Iowa this weekend? But you can maybe answer this one. Curious as to how Oregon should play Iowa. Not a film reviewer, but my impression is that they have have historically been a strong running team, while our run defense, red linebackers, have been a weakness. Also, how is the pass defense? Can we air it out against this team and nullify their running game, assuming Dante gets protection?
Well, I can quickly dispatch the Iowa offense versus Oregon defense side of the ball, which is this Iowa offense is really it's under Tim Lester, they do some stuff that's better than the worst of the Ferentz stuff, and Gronowski is healthy, which is another blessing for Iowa. But baseline, structurally, philosophically, it's identical. It's efficiency runs, but no explosive runs, and the pass game's a joke. And then if you look at their third down conversion rates, like they just can't do it. So what that means is they're basically built to play with a lead, or play for a tie and then kick a last second field goal to win. They definitely, they'll white knuckle it. They don't, crack under the pressure. They're well coached in that way, but they're definitely not built to play from behind.
That's their one mode. Yeah, truly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, they're built in that way. So in other words, if you have cracked them, like if you as the offense, get out ahead of them and build like a 14-point or more lead by the first half, like they're done. They're never going to catch up to you. So you just don't worry about their offense after that point. Now, on the other hand, if you're behind them and they can sit on you with their efficiency run game, like, oh yeah, you're never getting out. You're never getting out from under that. And Oregon's just basically not built to stop that. Like Oregon's defense is not built to fight off their offense if Oregon falls behind. Like their defense is not going to get them back into the game based on the way that Iowa's offense is constructed. Like that's just not going to happen. Oregon's offense has to show up and with the correct game plan and do the thing to and build a lead. And at that point, Iowa's offense is a non-factor. And so what does Oregon's offense have to do? What is the correct and what is the incorrect way to approach Iowa's defense? Okay, so this is actually, it's easier said than done, but it's not difficult to understand, like at all, which is there's three things that you need to know about Iowa's defense. Number one, They back out and play the pass. They do not take the bait. They back out, play the pass, 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 back out, play the pass. They do not take the bait. The second thing that you need to know is that their run defense is quirky. I describe it as the 4-yard barrier. They will always give you 4 yards. Their efficiency rush defense is terrible. Like you need 4 yards, they will always give you 4 yards. You will always pick up short yardage conversions against them. It's not difficult.
Well, that's great for us because we'll do that.
Let's do it.
You'll always win on first down. Like if it's 1st and 10 and you need it to be 2nd and 6, it's 2nd and 6, brother. If it's 2nd and 1 and you need it to be 1st and 10, or it's 3rd and 1, you need it to be 1st and 10, it's 1st and 10. Like, no problem. Do you need to get an explosive run against them? Like, do you need to go get like 8, 9, 10 yards? Like, not going to happen. They don't let you do it. Like, that's how their defense is built. So they'll always give you 4 yards. They will never give you more than 4 yards. 40-yard barrier. Okay. So you need to understand that. Third thing that you need to understand about Iowa's defense is that their blitz strategy is very, very good. Very, very on point. I can explain, I can get really in depth about it, but the easy way to understand it is they are not going to generate pressure without blitzing, and they only blitz in long yardage. Like they if it's short yardage, they play conservatively, or medium yardage, or just normal yardage, just normal down. But then when they get you in like 3rd and long or 2nd and long, then they're bringing a blitz. Right. Okay. So basically, as long as you stay ahead of the chains, you'll keep the pressure off of you. But if you get behind the chains, then they're going to blitz. All right.
Yeah, I like it. Let's hear it.
So you add those 3 things up, and this is how every time they go play an SEC team in a bowl game, or when they play Ohio State or Michigan or one of the good Big Ten teams, like those teams blank them. They win like 30-0, right? Like Iowa, Iowa goes like 9-3 every year, and the losses like all look identical. They lose like 30-0. And so this is how they lose every time and get blanked. Like every time, it's exactly like this. This is the strategy. This is the offense. This is the offensive approach that undoes them. Is this on 1st and 10? You take a short to intermediate pass, so that you're not going to get a deep throw on 1st and 10 because they back out and play the pass. So forget it. Maybe you'll get it, but it's not worth. I don't really think it's a high percentage play. The high percentage play is taking an underneath throw on 1st and 10. And you either get a first down, that'd be real nice, or you get like 7, 8, 9 yards, right? You get that on 1st and 10 because why? They'll let you have it because they back out and play the pass. But underneath, oh yeah, you get underneath stuff all day against Iowa. That's real easy. So you get that on 1st down. Okay. So what does that set up? That sets up 2nd and short. What did I just get done saying about 2nd and short?
You can have it. They'll give it to you.
Well, you can do that, or
take the
money
bomb
down.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
You take the bomb. Okay, so there's actually a 4th thing I should have said about Iowa's defense, which is that their cornerbacks are super, super grabby, like super grabby. Like, oh my God, the grabbiest cornerbacks you've ever seen. Super grabby. But the Big Ten officials don't throw flags. Like, they don't. That's how they're getting away with it. Like, that's how they have a good pass defense, is that they just mug you the whole they're playing from behind, and then they just grab you the whole way to equalize. And if they played in any other conference, they'd be getting flagged. But they play in the Big Ten, so they don't get flagged. So this is where I think is going to be an interesting question about this game is, okay, is Oregon, and when I talked to Tom Kakert, our friend from Hawkeye Report last night, this is, what he says. He identified exactly the same thing that I identified. Is like, okay, so Iowa has trouble with speed. Oregon's got a bunch of speed. Is Oregon going to win the money down? to wit, what that means is, okay, so is Oregon going to take those second and short shots where Oregon's wide receivers are sufficiently fast that they get so far ahead of Iowa's cornerbacks that they can't even grab them? Like they are like 2 yards ahead of that cornerback, so that even though he's trying to reach out and commit pass interference, that he can't because he's out of arm's reach. And then Dante Moore with his golden arm hits those big passes. And then, oh brother, then the game is over. Because if Iowa can't commit pass interference and get away with it, then the game is over. But if that doesn't happen, for any of those 3 reasons, either Oregon can't pull it off, or Will Stein doesn't call those plays, or they just miss those throws, or whatever reason, well, fine. Now it's 3rd and short. What did I just say about Iowa's rush defense in short yardage?
Oh, they'll not rush you. They'll give it to you.
They'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, that's the other thing about second and short. They won't blitz on second and short, so you'll have time in the pocket. You'll have time in the pocket to hit those shots if they're there. So, but now let's say if you don't get it, now it's 3rd and short. Now you rush to pick up 3rd and short. Now it's 1st and 10. Repeat.
Yeah.
Repeat. Underneath throw. Now it's 2nd and short. Take your money down shot.
You know what?
Repeat. And this is how every SEC, like I went back, I watched all those SEC games, like all those bowl games, all those Ohio State games. Like that's it. That's how they do it, is 1st down, underneath throw, 2nd down, deep shot. You get it, win the game. Because as soon as you get like 2 of those, so it's like, and that's Tom said this in our interview last night. Phil Parker has a rule: the instant you give up 3 explosives, the game's over. Like,
when you're playing that
right.
way, yeah,
he's right. The instant you give up 3 explosives, the game is over because Iowa can't come back.
Yeah. That sounds about right. That sounds like Iowa. You could set your watch to Iowa, and that all clocks. Absolutely. Yeah, should be an interesting game. I mean, it also goes well that let's hear it, Aaron.
Maybe we can call this my super specific prediction.
Okay, already early. I like it.
Well, only because it does play off of the question, which is that I think this is the game where old Willie Stein should get really creative. Because if they're going to give you 4, why not make it be a little kooky and see if you can't get 8 or 12 out of it?
Well, we'll see what happens.
Because their safeties are always available to tackle. Because their safeties just back out and play. Like,
you're getting cocky over there.
Okay, then I'm not taking that as my super specific thing.
Yeah. Think it over. We got time, but we are transitioning.
You should get creative in the run game. That's how. If you just run sort of straight at them, you're never going to get anything. Like, it would actually make me really depressed if they did that. But you can kind of crease them if you do. Like, it was actually really fun watching the Wisconsin game, because when Wisconsin did like kind of straight runs at them, like Iowa totally picked their pocket. But when Wisconsin ran counter against them, counter's a kind of run play where you look like you're running one way and then you counter and go the other way. Like they ran that 7 times and they always won the play, and they averaged 9 yards a carry against Iowa. And I was like, Wisconsin, stop doing anything other than running counter. Iowa cannot figure this out. Like, these Cro-Magnon farm boys that they've got playing cannot figure out how to defend counter. Like, oh my God. So I'm just like, it had a jet motion, as part of it. And that's like kind of key, is like, it would get them out of position. They'd start to chase the jet motion because they're in man a lot. And I'm like, yeah, this is the key. It's like, you've got to have some like Chip Kelly style, like distraction going on in the backfield, some eye candy to get them, oh, what's going on? Some motion. Oh, should I chase that? What's going on? Like, I'm going to have this clip in my article where one dude starts to chase the motion. Then he's like, oh no, I got to come back. And he goes, and in coming back, I got to go. I'll tackle that guy. And he winds up taking out his own man instead of tackling the ball carrier. Like, that's how, like, discombobulated just a little bit of eye candy makes this whole defense. But if you just run straight so that everybody knows what they're supposed to do, oh, well, they're totally locked in and they'll destroy you. So I'm like, okay, you start out every run play by just confusing them a little bit.
Yep.
Like, to fustulate them, so that's my advice for Will Stein is like, and that's what he just spent the last 3 weeks doing is fustulating. So
yeah, get goofy with it.
Get goofy, have fun.
So
It's
yeah,
house money,
okay, Aaron. Yeah, I endorse that. I endorse the fustulation.
Way to go, Aaron. You called it out. And of course, to read this article, go over to Addicted to Quack, the absolute greatest Oregon Ducks website on the internet. And it is actually the Addicted to Quack that is somewhat sponsoring, not really, this next segment, which is the honorary Hythloday is always right Pick'em Challenge, brought to you by ATQ and It Never Rains on this podcast. Now,
AKA Hythlopix or Hythlodays.
Or Hythlodays. That's right. I always forget that part. We've been saying this every week, by the way. Yeah. So Aaron and I, last time that you were on, we had Aaron and I combined picks and go against you. You wiped the floor with us.
Oh.
We are too in the weeds right now. It is too important of a race for us to do that. So this will be each man for their own, and we'll have Hythloday go first.
But we
to help to really set the stage too, to help out these picks.
But I will say that the person presenting the game is also in the lead currently, so it would make sense to maintain one's lead.
So you should say like I should go first, then Hythloday, then you.
I'm saying we should team up against Hythloday again to re-earn the rights back to our own segment.
If that's what you want, I'm down. If that's what you want, I'm down. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got to review what happened last week. First of all,
great.
It was pretty fun watching, even though I didn't have fucking ESPN. I'm pissed, dude. That pissed me off. Pissed off a bunch of people, I'm sure. But there's some goofiness that happened last week. Started off with ASU, Iowa State, Big 12. Big 12 is always fun, honestly. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know, maybe we could have gone to the Big 12 and just owned that conference, because there's always some. I mean, us being in there, having a team of our quality would probably make it less fun, because right now it's truly like it's a mad world. It's rat race over there. It's some zany, and BYU's undefeated, like crazy shit's happening. But ASU, Iowa State. Kenny, I still love Kenny Dillingham so much.
You do.
I'm still so impressed by this guy. I would be shocked. Like, I know he is an ASU guy, but with this coaching carousel right now, like, he's the guy that people should really be going for, in my opinion. Like, one of these teams, like goddamn Florida or Auburn or someone. He had some time at Auburn. Someone should be going for Kenny Dillingham for real, because he finds a way, including with his quarterback, his starting quarterback out for the season. Jeff Sims comes in. And, he's not a great passer. So what did they do?
He not only won the game with Jeff Sims, but made him like the AP player of the week, means that like Kenny Dillingham, like instant first ballot Hall of Fame coach.
For freaking real, dude. Like, he finds a way. Like, people, I feel like they've already forgotten about how bad ASU was when he got there.
Yeah.
And then they got to the goddamn
like, if
playoffs.
you know anything about Jeff Sims, like, they go to interview him, like the ESPN or whatever it was, like they go straight to the interview with him. The first question is, Jeff Sims, this is the first game that you have won in 3 years. How does it feel? And he just sighs for like 12 seconds. It's like,
yeah. It doesn't sound like a sigh at this point. Yeah, no, I for real. And he got an ASU record for a quarterback, 228 rushing yards. I just love Kenny Dillingham. He freaking finds a way. He brought Cam Scattaboo into my life and into the world, like that alone. Like,
I
amazing.
forgot about that guy.
They beat Iowa State. Yeah, ASU, you're great. I chose ASU because I'm a true believer. You chose Iowa State because you're a fool.
Dang it.
Then Pitt played Stanford. Well, just go against Stanford. That's usually a pretty safe bet. That's what we both did. Ben Branson, the old Oregon State QB, threw 3 interceptions and was benched.
ESPN might have done you a favor by not letting you watch that game.
Yeah, I wasn't watching that game regardless. I wasn't watching that one. Virginia, who's a little darling over there in the ACC. Yeah, like the 2 Cal teams in ACC, which is like truly, I think that's the one I always point to for like how stupid and absurd 20 like college football is right now. Yeah, absolutely. It's just insane that they're there and they're doing nothing over there. Like Cal's had some moments, but yeah, they stink. Virginia,
They bad.
The Virginia's doing well though. It's fun to see them doing like decent enough, and it'll be fun to see them get like manhandled in the playoffs or something.
Yeah, I know.
But,
they're a total product of the ACC. Like,
yeah. But it's like, oh, they beat Florida State. Whoa! But then you look at Florida State. Here's a little fun fact for Cal. So they lose this game. You chose them because again, you're a fool. 14 straight losses against ranked opponents for Cal. The last ranked opponent they played that they beat was in 2020. The UO Ducks, Mario Cristobal's Ducks. 2020 was a crazy, weird year for many reasons. But
it's also Nebraska's last ranked win.
Really?
You can actually go through. Yeah, there's a bunch of teams that stat was flashing up was like last ranked win was Oregon. Like, you've got to be kidding me, man.
That I think a lot of Miami fans now at this point would be like, yeah, no, you know what? It's starting to make a little more sense here. Yeah. That's what
Stanford's last ranked win. It's like
really
there's a bunch of teams they were flashing that stat up this weekend. I was like, it's the is your quarterback having a bad season? Play Oregon. Like, he'll have the best game of his life. Yeah,
that really is amazing. Sometimes I think people are a little too harsh against Cristobal, but like also just like I think that stat does kind of show why people were a little frustrated when you had Oregon's talent, and then there's 3 teams that like haven't done anything since they beat Oregon way back. That is hysterical. That makes such perfect sense. Arizona took on Colorado. Colorado's bad. Colorado's bad. Deion's having a tough time for many different reasons.
Yeah.
Colorado's depressed. Kind of went back to Colorado's being Colorado. They are a depressing football team. I want them to be better, but Noah Fafita, he threw 4 touchdowns in like the first goddamn half. There's a 38-7 half lead for Arizona. 5 takeaways in this game too. You're not gonna win a game if that happens.
Wow. That's tough, man.
Only a fool would have taken Colorado in this game.
A fool in love
with the Buffmen, and that would be Aaron. But then we had Nebraska USC. Nebraska also apparently a team. I knew they hadn't won a ranked game in forever. I didn't know the last one was against goddamn Oregon.
What I find is hilarious is like, as you mentioned, the coaching carousel firing up, and they, Matt Rule, was their head coach. Finally got an extension. It sort of looked like he was playing footsie a little bit, to maybe drive up his number. And it was like, oh, we got to lock this dude down. And like, promptly goes and gets thrashed by USC, Lincoln Riley, coach of the year, Lincoln Riley. All this dude does is like lose games. He's like 2 insane. I'm just like, oh yeah, we got to lock this dude down, because he's the best coach we've had in a generation. But I'm not being sarcastic. He's the best coach they've had in a generation. Like,
yeah. This is I think I wrote this right. It's kind of pretty hard to believe their 29th loss in a row to a ranked opponent. I believe that is so. Like
and
last time,
it's still true that he's the best coach they've had in like 6 coaches. Like
poor bug eaters. That is, and to add to the misery that is to be under, and it's like it's to a diehard fan base, like a fan base that couldn't care more.
I mean, the blackout looked awesome. Like normally, I am not like I think blackouts are dumb, but like. They looked rad. Like when they did the balloon release, and I'm not a fan of the balloon release. The balloons were all black, and that looked awesome. Like,
they were trying something else. This is their first ever blackout, and it was a competitive game. It looked like a game that Nebraska could win, but then
it looked competitive right until the point where it wasn't.
Dylan Raiola,
it just like, that too. That also sucked. Actually, sucked
out for the
bad.
Season too. And that just blows.
But I mean, it sucked for the reason that like Nebraska's like I'm going to get into my Nebraska stuff, but like they have never fixed their pass protection problem, and they had this thing that where like their tackles it's like Stanford where they get these 5-star tackles and then they suck, and like so then they have these 5-star tackles who suck, and then they like both of them were like yippee they came back. And I'm like, no, this is the worst possible thing. Like these guys are terrible. So then what happens? Like both of them give up pressure, and that's what happened. Like the Anthony Lucas, or I can't remember who was Lucas, but like jumps on Raiola from behind, and like that's what breaks his foot or fibula or whatever. And I'm just like watch the play. It's the most like horrendous. And I'm seeing like Nebraska fans talking online about like Raiola holds the ball too long, and I'm like. Okay, maybe he holds the ball a little too long, but like, can you like look at the pass pressure? Like, okay,
yeah. So
don't fall into offensive line holes, boys and girls. Like, don't fall into offensive line holes. Don't fall into offensive line holes. Don't fall into offensive line holes.
So it's really just hit me. So like the victory over Dakota Prukop, that is their last ranked win.
Yes.
It was the Mark
Helfrich game.
Holy hell, man.
The 5 2-point conversion game. That was it.
That's a million years ago. That is truly insane.
And the dude who got revenge was Willie Taggart.
That's right. The great Willie Taggart, the first year of this very podcast. That's that. So like a year before the beginning of the Quack 12 is the last time Nebraska got a win against a ranked team. And it almost happened here. Like that's, because it was a close game. And I should have taken that information and just been like, well, USC's ranked. Nebraska's not winning this game. I should have done that, but I didn't. Aaron did though, because he knows what's up. And then now this was the game of the week. This next one for Aaron and I, at least for this podcast.
Well, that's what I presumed.
It is a Pac-12 podcast, as we always say, and this is technically the only Pac-12, Pac-2, whatever you want to call it, game that happened. Even though I learned this, I didn't know this. This game did not count as a conference game. Did you know that, Hythloday?
Oh, what are you talking about?
I read that
Washington State, Oregon State.
Yeah, Washington State, Oregon State.
Oh, they have to play it twice.
Yeah, they have to play it twice. And also that this game doesn't count.
Yeah, this one of the two, like they had to schedule as a non-con because you're not allowed to do like the NCAA rules don't allow you to do that.
You gotta follow the rules.
I love the idea that there's a conference with 2 teams in it. They play twice in a year. One of the games doesn't count. This is like I just love these teams. I love this conference. I just wanted to keep happening.
So what
did you watch the game?
I watched this game. Hell yeah!
It was thrilling. It was a great
awesome.
Game.
It was a great game. I love these teams. I genuinely do. Like this same
the fans
Wazoo
rushed
team.
the field.
Why wouldn't you? It's a great historical moment. And so like Wazoo,
a game that doesn't count.
A game that doesn't count. And even though 50% of the conference games in this conference did not count. And I love that too. So Wazoo, a team that almost beat Ole Miss on the road, which is also fantastic. They lose to Oregon State, which you called, Aaron. To your credit, you called. They lose 10-0. 7.
Ooh.
That is football. That is goddamn football. I love it so much. And like, again, I said this last week, it's condescending as hell. You're supposed to be condescending to your little brother, so that's fine. But sometimes I watch this shit and I'm like, I wish I was a Washington State or an Oregon State fan. Maybe I should throw all this away, because the joy of being like, we got our second win. It's just like, sometimes in rushing the field, like against a team that's won 4 games and now we're in November, like it's just fucking awesome, honestly.
I have a question.
Let's hear it.
In a conference of 2, at the end of the season, when you've played 12 games of football,
Yeah.
is your in-conference record, if you win, 1-0?
1-0.
Yeah, and whoever wins the game is the Pac-12 champion.
Oregon State can still
Dude.
go undefeated in conference play.
Dude, those are the kinds of stats that you have to
Wazoo
juice
could.
with
If
this kind
Wazoo
of...
wins
Wazoo.
the revenge game, then they're
Yeah.
the Pac-12 champion.
That game's gonna be fucking awesome on the Palouse. Maybe for bowl eligibility for Wazoo. Huh. Dude.
This is the Platypus Bowl, dude. That's what
it's
that
better.
is.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it means.
The Platy has been moved over.
Wazoo, Oregon State. It was a great game. It honestly was an awesome game. There were so many turnovers. What is their Oregon State's QB who they benched, but then he came back because of an injury, unfortunately. He came out, he played pretty
He came
poorly.
back, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Murray Johnson or
No. Who's Oregon State's QB for the majority of this season? I already forgot his name.
the Duke transfer?
Yeah.
I mean, I've forgotten his name too.
Yeah,
All I remember is he's transferred from Duke.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah. He's been pretty bad. But holy hell, what a game. I loved it. What an insane situation. It's unfortunate that it's only happening one year. I wish it was like this all the time, honestly. We love the Pac-12, don't we, folks? And then the fight, you called it. You called Oregon State getting their second win. And then here we go. Cincinnati versus Utah, a game I couldn't care less about, quite frankly. Though it did mean a lot in the Big 12 race. It was a top 25 matchup as well. Utah kicked the shit out.
It's also an important Pac-12 game that we covered.
Sure, absolutely. A non-con Pac-12 game like this, absolutely. 480 total yards, 267 rushing yards for the Utah Utes. This was never really a game. They kicked ass. Utah going to Utah, and they're still alive in the Big 12 championship game. It'd be pretty cool if it was like, I don't know if mathematically this can even happen, but if it was like ASU Utah for the Big 12 championship game, that'd be pretty freaking cool. I know BYU and Texas Tech play this week, and that's going to be a big one.
Ooh.
Real big one. But we won't be talking about it. So all in all, Aaron and I both got 4 right each.
I'm glad we tied out to go into a collaborative pouncing of Hythloday.
Yeah, we're kicking Hythloday's asses.
Yeah.
50-47 is I've got a 3-game lead, so you're going to have to make it up with some crazy picks. But this week, Aaron and I are going to try to take back the naming rights for the Pick'em Challenge.
This is round 2.
That's right. So this is, you don't even have to put anything on the table, Hythloday, because we're just trying to win back our own segment. Rights. Our pride too, honestly. And we will by kicking your ass in the Pick'em Challenge right now. Well, I should say the honorary Hythloday is always right. Pick'em Challenge, Hythloday. Yes, okay. Starting it off, the picks. Obviously, this is going to be Pac-12 teams because it's a Pac-12 podcast. So Northwestern travels to USC, to number 20 USC. Interesting. Fox, this is a Friday, 6 p.m. You are our guest, and I don't think what we say influences you. Honestly, maybe it would be better for us to pick before Hythloday. You are the guest, because like what Hythloday says would influence what we do more.
For sure.
Than what we say is going to influence.
But we are, which is good if we want to get our name back.
Yeah. So okay, Aaron, I'll let you make final decision on this, because you're the one that can usually sense what's going on in the universe a little bit more. Northwestern, I mean, they're 5-3, which I'm like, honestly, good on you. That's pretty cool. They're beating the teams that, they got 5 wins. That's pretty
right.
awesome.
They do.
Pretty terrible offense.
You're about to say the teams that they should, but then
I know, but I was like, well, hold on. No, that's a stretch. It would be totally USC to lose this game.
Yes.
At home, ranked number 20.
Correct.
Is it like, it's possible? It's very unlikely. I mean, maybe very strong. It is unlikely. USC does have weapons on offense.
Correct.
I mean, they had a pretty bad showing on the road against Nebraska through the air, but I don't know. USC is heavily favored. If we're being safe, we should just go with USC.
That's where my heart tells us.
Yeah,
tells me I should go.
And not that home field advantage means anything for USC, because people just simply do not care. But we should probably just go for the ranked team. Does that sound right?
Currently.
Okay, we're going with USC. We're going with USC.
Okay, let's lock it in. Although I'm sure Northwestern might be able to exploit something.
I hope it happens.
And Hythloday will tell us about it right now.
It'd be funny. Yeah, who are you going with?
USC.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah.
It's just not a good matchup for Northwestern. Yeah. I mean, this is a conference game in the Big Ten. Like, I've got this mapped out pretty well, actually. Not a good matchup for Northwestern at all.
You put money on it?
No, of course not.
Of course he does.
Foolish and immoral.
No, unless you're in the NBA, then it's totally, the whole thing is orchestrated around that, apparently. By the way, thanks for reminding me.
Toy of the week.
Every week we show off a toy for the YouTube viewers. Only they can see it. This is not quite duck related. It is organ related, though, and it's going to be really hard to see, so it's actually not worth it whatsoever. But I've got this poker chip, retired legend Bill Walton. It is a Bill Walton Trailblazer poker chip.
Well, let's hold it up to the camera.
Yeah, I will. But
that's a nice get.
It's a really good get, and honestly, this year for 2025 NBA, it's really fitting. A poker chip with an NBA player. Come on.
Yeah, right.
There you
go. Yeah.
It's looking pretty trolly.
What's the other side?
Logo.
Love it.
Spirit of 77. Is that what we wanted, I think?
Spirit of 77, baby.
Anyways, so there's that.
Peace and love.
Subscribe, Quack. We love you, Bill Walton. You inspired this whole podcast. You're the reason why we don't do what we don't do, which is research the stuff that we're talking about.
You have to feel it.
Yeah. And you are the reasons why we do what we do, which is fuck around and just check.
Feel it.
Okay. Up next, Colorado versus West Virginia. Now this is interesting. I like this one because Colorado's really bad, and we should really focus on that Colorado is really bad, and they will be on the road, but they'll be on the road against another team that is really bad in West Virginia. Mountain Mama. 3-6 Colorado is taking on 3-6 West Virginia. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little confused. I thought West Virginia was in the ACC. That's how fucking crazy I am, I suppose. But apparently they're in the Big 12.
Yeah, I knew that.
New every day. I didn't. So this is a conference game. Who's favored even? I'll even look at the spread here. West Virginia is favored by like 5.5 points, probably just because they're at home. I would lean towards, I haven't watched any West Virginia because there's no reason for it, but I have watched, unfortunately, some Colorado, and they're kind of in garbage fire mode.
Yeah.
Garbage fire versus tire fire is kind of where this is at.
Well, here's the thing.
Let's hear it.
Tire fire, rubber, controllable. Garbage fire, there might be a fucking tank of gasoline in that thing that'll blow up in your face.
Or batteries.
And maybe I think Colorado could win this thing.
You got a soft spot for the buff men. We all know that. You're always choosing them.
They're too sexy for their shirts.
You said, I mean, I'll go with it. I said you get the last pick, so you're getting it. Colorado. We are going with Colorado.
Whoa, Dag, what have I done?
I know. I think you chose wrong here, but who you going? The battle of the 3-win teams. Who's getting their 4th win?
I got West Virginia.
That's how we win right there. That's our wild card.
Colorado's on the downslope, and actually, West Virginia beat the snot out of Houston last week.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I should have mentioned that.
Houston had a little bit of a rally at the end of the game to make it look a little more respectable, but like in the middle of the game, it was like West Virginia 38, Houston to 10. You know, it was like, what the.
Yeah, I completely forgot that. That would have been good information for me to tell you, Aaron, but I think you would have chosen Colorado regardless.
No, because if I would have known West Virginia beat Houston.
Yeah, you do.
Well, the world is what it is, Houston. And that's what I've done.
That's what's happened. That's
right.
Let's go to the next one. Arizona, who's, they nearly beat Houston. They nearly beat BYU. They kicked the shit out of Colorado, dear Lord. And now they're taking on Kansas. I don't know anything about Kansas, if I'm being real. I haven't watched anything about Kansas, but they're 5-4 team. Arizona is 5-3. They will be at home. The Wildcats will be. I would go with the Wildcats because they're the Pac-12 team, and we're a Pac-12 podcast. That's where I'm at.
Facts,
I don't know anything about these. Okay. Arizona, Noah Fifita, we love you. I've always liked Noah Fifita, honestly. Ever since he decided to not go to Washington, I've liked Noah Fifita. Hith, who you got?
It's Kansas, Arizona is what we're talking about.
Kansas, Arizona, that's right.
I'm going to go with Arizona.
Yeah. Why not?
Dang it.
Why not? Well, here we go. The battle of the U-Dubs. We've got Washington.
Wait, did y'all pick?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we went with Arizona.
Right.
We like them. We like We like Noah Fifita.
They're delicious.
6-2.
I'm not a big fan of Noah Fifita. I'll put that on record.
Again, he spurned Washington. Maybe it would be better if he was at Washington, but yeah. Number 24, Washington. That's right. Ranked, Aaron. Ranked Washington, because they're 6-2. Takes on 2-6 Wisconsin. Now, Washington will be on the road taking on Wisconsin. Will there be many fans there? I mean, Wisconsin fans are passionate, but do they want to watch their 2-6 team against the ranked team? Maybe. I would almost feel more confident in Wisconsin upsetting Washington if this was like a late game in Seattle, because that's more often when they get upset. But yeah, I mean, you saw Wisconsin. Their first touchdown in the last 3 games came against us in garbage time. Their offense has been truly abysmal. Washington has some O-line problems, but they still managed to put up some points.
Okay.
They're on the road. Washington is heavily favored. They are ranked. Who you got? Huskies or Badgers?
I think it's smart that we should be going with Washington.
Yeah, we should probably go with Washington. How about you, Hith?
Yeah, I got the Huskies.
Yeah. Well, so far, I'm glad that we chose some different. At least we went with Colorado, Aaron.
That's right. That's how we win it.
Yeah, I mean, might as well go like 3-6, go for them, I guess. Stanford versus Unk. That's right. UNC takes on Stanford. Normally, I'm not one that roots for or that chooses Stanford and winning a football game. But it's a 3-6 Stanford on the road against a 3-5 North Carolina. North Carolina, also really bad. As we know, it's the whole weird Bill Belichick thing going on over there.
Oh, is that where he is located?
That is where he's located. That is where the weirdness is happening. Does he want to be
vortex
there?
of
Who
oddity.
knows? Yeah, who knows if he wants to be there? But still, like UNC has showed some scrappiness. Like they almost beat Cal. Some, not that that's anything, but Cal is also in California, so in the Bay Area. So that is a thing. I don't know, man. Both these teams are bad. Stanford's really bad. Who do we go
Can
with?
we depend on Stanford to actually win a game, though?
Probably not, man.
Right, which is why I think
Like
UNC
Stanford's wins are always surprises.
Yeah, they are. Like they beat Boston College. That was a surprise. I was shocked by that. They showed some life against BYU really early on. Like, they weren't good, but they were alive in that game. I don't know, dude. UNC is also terrible. UNC is more on the up than Stanford, but
right.
It's both are
they
still
make
downward.
more sense to be a 4-5 team.
Well, no, they're not going to be a 4-5 team because they've already. Oh no, yeah, it would be 4-5.
Right, which makes sense for them.
UNC should be back. I mean, they've got a legendary NFL coach for.
I don't know. What are you
that
gonna?
doesn't
What
want to be there?
What do you
go
think
with
we should do?
I go with the home team. Go
Stanford?
with UNC. No, UNC.
Oh, that's where it's. Oh yeah. UNC.
Well, that's the other thing is Stanford's flying across the whole fucking country for every.
Right. Yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah, let's go with UNC. Let's go with UNC. Do you have faith in the Cardinal?
No.
Yeah.
Like all of their ACC wins have been at home, like basically forcing ACC teams to fly across the country, and I believe like that's been the entire explanatory factor for Stanford wins in the ACC. So that not happening, and if UNC had not won like last week, I might have been thinking, but like yeah, they finally broke through and got a win against Syracuse. Like they took Virginia to overtime. They played Cal close, like in Cal. So like okay, UNC. I mean, they're still obviously a joke. Like we will be joking about this year at UNC for years to come. But like as a football team, they might have like something, they're above room temperature. So yeah,
there was that one beautiful half, or a little less than half probably, where Stanford was really competitive against Miami, and I was like, is the Stanford curse against Cristobal really going to happen again? No, it didn't. But I was so excited for that.
I mean, Cristobal definitely Cristobal did against SMU this weekend. So.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, people are not. Miami fans. I've seen a lot of interactions where it's like Duck fans are going over to Miami and being like, "Yeah, we told you about Cristobal," and then Georgia fans, with Carson Beck, right? That's their QB.
Yeah. Right.
Being like, we told you about. It's interesting.
Yeah. Like when Miami, when Miami fan tormentors lose a game, the Miami fan stunt on them is just haha, you lost. Like it's very generic. Like I bet you had you had what we had. But it's like super generic. When Miami loses a game, the taunt of them is like hyper specific. It's look, you lost in exactly the way that we told you would lose. It's Cristobal mismanaged the game. Beck, threw a bunch of interceptions. The transfer that you got, like it's been other transfers too, and those you do. It's like the transfer that you took from our program screwed up in exactly the way that we told you. Like
pretty hellish existence. But they have many a natty, so. Would we trade it all? Who knows? Cal versus Lawville. 7-1 Lawville. They've been pretty dominant in the ACC. Miller Moss. Did I hear something about Miller Moss is okay, right? They didn't have an injury or yeah. I think he's still all right. So once again, Miller Moss will take on Cal. Interesting. 5-4 Cal. Always, man, that is the existence of Cal. Always just about at the bowl game. Will they get it? Will they not? That is just what Cal forever
Real
is.
Ross and Rachel.
Absolutely. Saga Pulutele, you know I love him. He hasn't, I mean, he's good overall. He's not good enough to like make Cal a contender in seemingly any game. I mean, they've won more games than they've lost, and he's still, very young and making some mistakes as well. Number 14, Lawville. I think we got to go with the ranked team at home that's going against Cal. I mean, just unless you want to be crazy. Yeah. So we're going with
Well, I do.
You are
not
crazy.
Right now.
There's no options. Yeah. There's a couple more options to be crazy up in the future. Hith, who do you got?
All right. Hold on. What is this on the CW?
Oh yeah, that's no.
Oh, well,
ESPN
do you have
CW
some
game?
deep side
ESPN
CW knowledge that might influence
No,
the game?
it's ESPN2. Okay.
Yeah.
If this were like a brainwave struck me. If this were, because everything points to a Louisville win. Because everything points to a Louisville win. If it were on the CW, I would pick Cal.
Because no one sees it. This crazy game that like people are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
because that's the nature of the CW curse is that if everything is telling you it's got to be the favorite, but it's on the CW, you must pick the underdog. But it's not on the CW; it's on ESPN2. So therefore, I would be insane to not pick Louisville. I must pick Louisville.
Yeah, the CW's for three things now. It's for upset victories that people didn't think to turn on to, even though they have it on their basic cable. It's for Oregon State losing.
It's over the air. You can pick it up with an antenna.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Everyone's got it. And it's for like old episodes of the Gilmore Girls. And
I mean, it's for celebrating the career of James Vanderbeek and Dawson's Creek, my man.
Absolutely.
I actually I had some weird trouble with my service provider, and so I bought an HD antenna, and it is permanently tuned to CW.
Yeah, it rules.
I don't even know how to change the channel. I know how to switch the source to the antenna so that I can watch CW.
Whenever, sometimes I'll use, I mean, this is my little secret too, so don't be spreading this, Quack 12 fans, but Stanford actually provides a really good service called Puffer. It's just a website called Puffer, and I believe it's so they can learn about like streaming and like look up like data point. I don't know, some nerd shit, but it basically it's basically antenna TV. Like it has like, the main staple things, but you can just go online and it allows, I think something pretty low, like 500 people or something at a time. But I've watched like ABC, NBC, CBS, CW. You can just go there and watch that online for free. And
also,
reliable.
Stanford has a really great YouTube presence with tons of classes and stuff that they just post up there.
Yeah, they have everything but a good football team.
Sometimes you can't have it all.
Sometimes you can't have it all. Nebraska, UCLA. UCLA is not ranked, so it is very possible that Nebraska can win this game. They will not have Dylan Raiola, who's out for the season, which freaking blows. So they have a very, very shaky QB out there. UCLA has won 3 games this season, but they were the talk of the town when they were winning those 3 games.
You better believe it.
Cool for a minute. But Nebraska already has bowl eligibility. UCLA, it'd be pretty cool of them if they got to that bowl game at this point.
That's sweet of you to say.
UCLA, I think so. UCLA is at home. I'm kind of feeling like UCLA has more to play for and more positives about their team. I mean, if I'm talking about actual X's and O's, obviously anyone that knows this podcast knows I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. So I don't know how they literally match up against Nebraska. Nebraska is probably the better constructed team, but UCLA's got some stuff going on. So I feel like UCLA. How about you? You want to go with Nebraska instead?
You said they got a questionable QB?
Nebraska, yeah, because their starter, they're like.
And how hard do they lean on that guy? Can anybody hand off a ball, or do we have to be depending on throwing it?
For Nebraska?
Yeah.
They don't. I mean, Raiola had to do kind of everything for this team. As Hythloday said earlier, like they're kind of in an O-line hole right now. So
that's right.
And so it's like they're a team that maybe wants to rely on the run on the road in this game.
Yeah.
Can they rely on the run?
Is UCLA good at stuffing up the run?
Not necessarily. Not that I've seen.
So you're saying we got us an exciting game on our hands?
Probably will be. Honestly, it probably will be an exciting game.
I think we should go with Nebraska.
Okay. It's not against a ranked opponent, so it's possible. Let's do it. Nebraska. Going with the Bug Eaters. How about you, Hyth? Nebraska or UCLA at home?
Well, I'll have some fun with that. I'll go with UCLA. What's really interesting is that the computer models are really borked by this game because, well, number one, Nebraska's out their quarterback, so that is borking the models, and then number two, UCLA. There's a massive spike in their data when the coach gets fired.
Yeah,
like they're basically a completely new team with Skipper and Neuheisel running the team. Once Foster gets fired, and so but the computers don't know that. Like, I mean, my model does. Like, I have the power to do it. Other advanced statistical algorithms refuse to do it. Only one advanced modeler has the courage and good looks to just invent UCLA 2. Which is what I do. Like, I just made up a new team called UCLA 2 that has all the has all the roster data of UCLA 1, but it just starts over, with the new data, starting with the Penn State game. And it, I'm not able to do that with Nebraska because I've got like a partial, I've got a partial game against USC with Latif as the quarterback. It's not enough data, but I do have enough data to do with UCLA. And the UCLA 2 is a goodish team. And I think goodish UCLA versus Nebraska without their quarterback is, give me UCLA at home.
There you go.
Not that the Rose Bowl matters,
Adam, what have I done?
Not playing in front of, the sold out Memorial Stadium. So.
I mean, I think it'll be a competitive game. It'll be interesting. And then we've got, this is the one that the whole country will be tuning into. Will Oregon State get their third win or will Sam Houston get their first win? That is the true question here, because Sam Houston is 0-8. Oregon State is 2-7. However, Hythloday will be interested in this. This is at the CW. This is on the CW. I believe, I haven't really looked into it. I believe Oregon State has only lost on the CW. Maybe.
Well, it's because they lose all their games.
Yeah.
The CW curse only applies to the ACC.
Not last week. Sam Houston, so 0-8. And I do you know a Sam Houston? You're from Texas.
Yeah, Sam Houston was the first president of Texas, my dude. Houston is named after Sam Houston.
I'm glad I asked you.
Yeah.
So there you go. Was
He's
he a good man?
The G of G's as far as Texas is concerned.
I imagine the man who founded Houston was a good human being. Is that correct?
No, he was pretty terrible in a lot of regards. And so there was a band of outlaws from Austin that went up to Houston, stole all the paperwork that was, of governance, took it back to Austin, and said, now Austin is the capital. And then Sam Houston was like, well, here I come with the Texas military, and we're gonna blow y'all away. And then a lady met them on the streets with a cannon and just started firing at them.
This is the most Texas story I've ever fucking heard.
And
I'm
that is
so
how
glad
Austin,
I
that's
asked you
basically
about
how Austin became the capital of Texas.
I'm so glad I asked you this,
Yeah.
Aaron. Oh, god damn. Their closest game they had was a 29-27 loss against Jackson State. Otherwise, it's just been pretty just blowout games, honestly. Yeah, and they are 0-8. Oregon State is 2-7 and riding a huge victory that did not count.
Right.
So, I mean, Oregon State is, I would imagine, heavily favored in this, which is not something we've said at any point this season.
Did you hear the story I just told you? Where there's a will, there's a... Well, I guess Sam Houston did get stopped. Too.
Yeah, he got stopped there.
Right. So this is,
yeah,
if we were to take that into the, they would probably
Oregon
lose.
State is the lady with the cannon.
Yeah, you're probably right. Honestly, they got a little bit of gumption. They're feeling a little bit of fire, and they're going to start putting the gunpowder in. Let's do it. Let's go Oregon State.
Yeah.
Good
3
on you for
wins.
not making a Beavers joke.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I never do. Hith, you're back in your Sam Houston?
No. Give me the ladies with the cannons.
Ladies with the cannons. I'm so glad that you gave us that story. That was great. And then, so finally, of course, this actually should be an interesting game, or incredibly boring, actually, now that I think about it. But U of O on the road against Iowa. I certainly want the Ducks to win this one, and it'll be a frustrating experience if they don't. My guess is that this will be a close game, but that the Ducks will win. What do you think, Aaron?
That's your super specific?
No, not yet. We're gonna do that after
yeah,
this.
no, Ducks, yeah, for sure. All the time, every time.
Ducks. You've talked a lot about Iowa and what it takes, what it looks like for them to win, what it looks like for them to lose. Do you think the Ducks have it in them to get the W, Hythloday?
I mean, yeah. If they win, they'll kill him.
Yeah, I could see
that. It won't be. It will either be a close, excruciating loss, or they'll murder him like 35-0.
Let me ask you this: do you think this is the toughest game remaining on our schedule?
No, that'll be Washington.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm talking about.
It may be a loss, but if it's a loss, it'll be like it's the kind of game where either Oregon will get it right and they win and it's like 35-0, or they lose and it's an excruciating loss, but it's inevitable in a way that's sort of like inexorable. And that's like, I could see it going either way, and it's determined whether or not, Will Stein gets it right or not. But that doesn't mean that it's a coin flip like Will Stein has it within his power. In that sense, I don't think it's the toughest game. Like, Washington is tough because Oregon has this weird thing with rivalry games. Like, Dan Lanning kind of gets in his head about rivalry games, and then USC actually has the number one offense. Like, that's tough because that team shows up with actual talent, and you have to you got to play, you got to play football against them. Iowa, Oregon entirely has it within their power to kill them. I don't know if they'll do it because, Will Stein could choose the wrong strategy, but they have it entirely within their power. So, no, it's not tough in that sense.
Yeah. I'm also I'm fearing that Washington game just because it's a rivalry game. It's the end of the season.
Don't even worry about it. It's a win
in Husky Stadium, which turns into an ice rink.
Yeah.
Nah, no big deal. So they soap the field. We got this.
Yeah. Yeah. You're probably right. So let's get into the very final bit in this podcast, which is our super specific predictions.
Yep.
So they have a wonderful tradition in Iowa. I will say this, which there's the Children's Hospital, Iowa, is they can see the field and everyone turns around and waves to the kids watching the game. It's a pretty beautiful thing. I will say
Cancer kids?
Basically.
Yeah.
I will
it's like when you were a kid and you would stay home sick and watch The Price is Right to like scare the germs out of you, from watching bad daytime television. It's like, well, when you get cancer, to make that go away, you watch Iowa football. Like, be gone.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm gonna get healthy, so I don't have to watch this offense anymore. Yeah.
I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. So I think there will be not one, but 2 different Duck jerseys that we will see from people in the hospital. I think we will be well represented in the hospital. So 2, specifically 2, not more, not less.
Okay, I'm gonna vibe with that. We are also going to see one of the nurses.
Okay.
And to clarify, it will be like a male nurse, if you will.
Okay, specifically, okay.
Yeah, and it's they will have a giant sign professing their love for Dan Lanning while doing a really supple gyration.
That is specific.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What if all that's happening, but like it's a woman nurse? That doesn't count. You don't.
It doesn't count.
Point. Okay, good. And a male identifying nurse with the sign specifically calling out Dan Lanning. It can't say "Go Ducks" even.
Professing love for Dan Lanning.
And it can't be like the robot. It has to be, I forget the exact words you said, like a supple dance.
Yeah, a supple gyration.
Supple gyration. Okay. I'll write that down. Supple gyration. Hith, what's your super specific prediction for this game?
More than one, like long bomb touchdown pass.
I assume you're talking about the Ducks because otherwise it's unbelievable. I would say if you have to say something else.
Iowa State, right?
Iowa.
I always get them confused. This is gameplay specific prediction.
Okay.
They're going to have some kind of weird issue with their keeping their cleats on.
Okay, that is interesting. I'll say this is like the most unbelievable thing to happen in this game, but I just because Ducks usually when we're playing against someone and it's like, oh, this team never does this, that thing just randomly happens. I bet you there's going to be a deep touchdown pass from Iowa against the Ducks. It'll be their,
and it'll probably happen early on.
Oh yeah, it'll just be sweating it. No, I think it'll be a garbage time touchdown pass.
Okay.
It'll
Garbage
be like
time touchdown.
It'll be like a 40-yard bomb that ends up being a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I hate those. Those are the worst.
And it'll be like 30. So then the score will be 35-7.
The worst part about those is that you always see the one player on your team who is just working extra overtime to try and get to the guy with no actual chance of getting to the guy. So you're just watching him struggle super hard for the touchdown to be inevitable.
Yeah. Well, anyways, whether that happens or not, the Quack 12 podcast will be here next week to break it down. Thanks again, Hythloday. Addicted to Quack. Hythloday 1 on Twitter. Get your ass over there. And the podcast is It Never Rains on this podcast.
Will you be joining us to wrap up our everything that we did today, Hythloday, next week? Is that a thing?
Next week, I wasn't planning on it, but
I wasn't planning on it. I got a busy week. I gotta.
Oh, okay, great.
But maybe
fine, whatever.
It's a short
we're not
week
your friend either,
Oregon's,
dude.
Oregon's got Minnesota on Friday, so I got to turn my article around. Fast. I'm not sure I'm going to.
That's right.
Got to grind.
Maybe you row your boat at the end of the season, either post the Big Ten championship game that we probably won't be playing, or
you know what?
Maybe to wrap up the regular season, we'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, I
we'll
forgot
see.
Hythloday.
I mean, the
that-
interesting thing is that like Oregon, Oregon's ranked in the top 10, but they don't have any ranked wins. Like all the teams that they play, like, explode or they lost to in the form of Indiana. But like they actually sort of, these last 4 games, like, Iowa's a good team. Minnesota, they got trounced by Iowa, has like 5 wins, or they didn't deserve that win against Michigan State, but whatever. And then USC and Washington, like their post bye schedule is like, okay, November, I see you. So like, yeah, I'm gonna be pretty busy, writing up these games. So we'll see how it goes in November. Like Oregon's gonna prove whether they belong or not here in November. It'll be pretty interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say I forgot. The reason why we reformatted the show was because there was absolutely too much to take care of, and Adam had enough
Big
of it.
Ten. Also, I don't care. I don't care about these teams. When there's Oregon State to cover, like, come on, baby. Are we gonna not talk about Wazoo, Oregon State? Come on.
Well, now they're in a conference with like a dozen Oregon states.
Yeah. And we'll see y'all next week, everybody. Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.